So to the second story time with Star Beings. My name is Jeni Furrey. I've lived in Colorado since I was 4 years old. I'm married. I have 2 daughters and a son-in-law. One of my daughters is my son-in-law. I've had relationships with Star Beings since the beginning, since I was born. Intimate interactions with them. Some of them are my friends. Some of them I've learned from. I know I've been monitored and watched my whole life. And I've always referred to them as others and not ETs or extraterrestrials, just because I don't really think that all of them are ETs. I also refer to them as star people or star beings. They're from different dimensions, different worlds, out in the galaxy, different solar systems, unseen worlds that we're not even aware of yet. And I lost my track here. Some of them have been born on this world. We can't call them humans, we can call them earthlings. I know that some of them have been born on this world. I've met a few of them that have been. So some of the stories that I have are short, some of them are long, or the whole thing. Some of them are just part of what I remember before they erase some of my memories, because I don't have all of my memories intact. I know that there are many people who have a lot more stories like I do that are just as extraordinary and fantastic as mine. And right before I came here, well, actually about 3 weeks ago, I was told that I was going to get my inspiration for what I needed to get in this story time right before I came. So I knew I was going to get what I needed to say before I start my stories, like 3 hours before I was supposed to be here, which happened. I always do journeys before I do these or before I do any kind of work. So I'm like, no, we need to go on a journey yesterday. So I have a day to prepare for this. So I went on my journey. Nobody showed up. I should have known that that wasn't the time for me to get the information. So, I mean, I swam in my lower world in the ocean and got refreshed and cleansed, I guess. And then this morning, I start getting downloads of information or the knowing, and they're like, we need to tell them that the timeline that we're on is not correct. The timeline has been messed up. We need to talk about that. People need to know about that. We need to start speaking, or start, even if we're not speaking, our words and thoughts of light and love to help start healing our timeline that has been somewhat hijacked by, I'm not sure, some kind of power or people, whoever it was that hijacked the timeline that we were supposed to be on. I'm not sure who they are, but we're supposed to be healing it. I know this to be true because when I was little, I had the knowing too. When I was really little, and I knew at this time in our life that we really were supposed to be a lot farther than we are, even though secretly I think we are farther than we are, that we don't know about, because I've seen some of it that humans and others work together with. We're supposed to be way farther than we are in this world than we are. We should be flying cars instead of driving them. That's what I saw when I was little. So I get confused with where we are now. I'm like, this is not where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be more of a world unity. We're not, which is baffling to me too. And I don't watch the news because of it. So we're not on the timeline we're supposed to be, and it's time for us to awaken and heal. So I was told to call on all of the sleepers and the light workers and the light weavers. It's time for those who have not woken up to wake up. It's time to heal. It's time for everybody to start doing their job. So I did some calling before I came here. Sorry. It's time for everybody to wake up. So the sleepers are the ones like me who have had a lot of interactions with star beings. It's time for them to start remembering to help bridge what we've lost to the unseen worlds, to Mother Earth, Father Sky, to bridge to the stars, the heavens, it's time to start healing. So if everybody could work on that. I know we were about wish paper, and I think that had a lot to do with tying in with it. If everybody, before they go, wants to write something down with the prayer paper, wish paper, for the healing, it's time for the healing and the light and love to come shining through. So that was my message. Wasn't very fluid, sorry, but it's time. It's time to wake up. All right, so we're going to start with after what happened with taking and Telluride. So for those who weren't here the last time, I was about 22-ish, and I was taken when I lived in Telluride. I'll retell that story for the ones who weren't here the last time. I was taken in the middle of the night. The man that I was with was frozen by light in the hallway the whole entire night while I was gone. I was taken to a mountain range somewhere in southwestern Colorado, astrally. I had 2 star beings with me who guided me to the mountain range. I remembered exactly how to get there. Because I'm pretty strong-willed, so if you're going to take me, I'm gonna do my best to remember where you're taking me, where I am. So I remembered the path, flying. We get to the mountain. The mountains, it's 3 peak mountains at that time, which was over 30 years ago. The mountaintops had snow on them, and I think that they had snow on them all year round. They might not anymore, wherever this mountain range is. We were taken into the mountain range, and in the mountain range, there's a hole, is a base, and it is run by humans and others. It is combined, I'm going to call it military operation, might be where some people call the Federation of the Galactic Federation, might be a home base for them. I was taken down there, and I was with a group of people that were taken, and we were standing in front of these doors that were just huge, like Godzilla or something could have gone through them, and they were metal, and they opened. We went in, and we went into a holding room. I call it a holding room, which looked like a cafeteria, like a school cafeteria with the folding tables. Remember how you used to fold them up and put them up so you could do gym class? Just those kind of tables everywhere with hundreds of humans sitting on them, all of them zonked out, totally out of it. They were in the holding room, whatever they were going to do with these humans, I don't know. I noticed that we were walking in about an inch of water, which I thought was strange. And now I'm walking with the group that I came with, or that they put me with at the time. We're walking through the holding area, and I'm kind of looking at everybody, and I noticed African-American man in an orange jumpsuit with a helmet. And I'm like, this guy is a military pilot. I don't know if he's Navy or Air Force, I'm not sure. And I realize that he's awake. He's just as awake as I am. Everybody else is knocked out. And we lock eyes, and I look at him, and he realizes that I'm awake, and he's frustrated, and we just kind of stare at each other, and I have to keep walking, and he watches me leave, and I'm thinking, they took him mid-flight because he has his helmet. I'm like, there's a plane in the sky flying without a pilot right now. I mean, I'm sure that I know that they have a way to take you and put you back at the exact same time. So it wasn't like there really was, but there really was a plane in the sky without a pilot because he was sitting right in front of me. So, but they took us. We left the holding room. We went down a hall, which curved. So I know that where we were, it was very rounded. That's all I remember, except I know that I had a blast. I know that it was, we were being taught something. I can't remember what we were being taught. The next memory I have is them taking me out of the mountain range and flying me back to my body that was taken astrally and put it back into my body. They put me in my body. I woke up. I'm like, I'm not ready to go. I was having a great time. I was having a blast. I didn't want to leave. So I astral projected. I knew how to get back to the mountain. I flew back to the mountain, and I set off alarms. 2 ships came out of the mountain, and I was escorted back to my body. I was not allowed to do that. They were like, you're not supposed to come back. Your time is done. So that is the story where some of you might remember it, where the rest of these stories pick up from my 20s. So I know that after that, it had a lot to do with that military operation. I don't know why I'm calling it a military operation. I'm not sure. It just felt like one. I was part of some kind of Galactic Federation. I don't even know if that's a word, just because I grew up with Star Wars and Star Trek. I don't know what to call it. It was grouped with others and humans. At that time, I was assigned a star being, and his name was Derek. Sometimes I call him Poe, but so if I say Poe or Derek, that's the star being that I was assigned. He was assigned to me. He is obviously not human, but I do know that he was born here on Earth. They look very human. If you pass them on the street, you might think, what a weird looking dude, but you would just keep walking, maybe. They're short and stout. Their heads are longer, a little more oval. They wear clothes like, yeah, has anybody ever seen a Mennonite? They wear the 1950s farm dresses and the aprons, and girls wear the little, but the boys wear like flannel tops and jeans. That's what they wear. Yeah, overalls. That's kind of what they wear. It kind of reminded me of, they didn't look like Mennonites, but how they dressed, they reminded me of Mennonites. So I was assigned to him, and his job was, obviously we were partners. We became close friends too. I spent a lot of time with this guy. He was to introduce me to different star beings that we worked with in this military operation. And he did take me around, and I did meet a lot of different beings. A lot of those memories have been taken. They're like, right, when you forget a word and you just can't remember it, they're right there. You can kind of see pieces of it. Not a lot, but I do have some memories of Derek taking me around. And one of them is called the train ride to subjugation. And this was an eye-opener for me to see how different civilizations, people from other worlds live. We went to an underground train, not on this world. I'm not sure where we were. I'm not sure what planet we were on. We were not here. But on the train, I was the only human on the train. I can't really remember what the rest of the star beings looked like, but it was strange to be the only human on the train. We were traveling underground very fast. When I say train, I mean more like a subway train, like high-tech subway train. That's how people are getting around this underground world. I'm sitting on the window side, and I'm seeing all these what look to me like apartment complexes, and they're all empty. We're passing them, we keep passing them, and I'm like, and I asked them, of course, we don't speak with our mouths, we speak with our head, and I asked him, why are all these empty? And he said, well, this race of beings, so-and-so, which I wish I would have wrote down at the time, but I didn't, because I was in my 20s, and of course I didn't write it down. They were in a war with another race of beings from another planet, and they have put them in this housing complex, and they've made them all move to the end. So they have all of these, and I'm like, I know humans have done that, and I know that we still do that. But this is a race of beings who can get from one solar system to another. And I know that they had a war with another planet, I guess. I don't know if they were on the same planet or if they were not. But it's subjugation. Like, they just took these people, this race of beings, and pushed them all to the back. So we finally get to the end, and they're all crammed into like 3 apartment buildings. And as I realized we're getting out of the train, we're going to go meet one of my friends who is part of that race of beings, who was a friend of mine and who worked with us, with me and Derek. I'm emotional today, sorry, just because of that message. Anybody got a tissue? Yeah, now I'm losing my voice.
You see for them? Oh, yeah.
So this was a very sad story for me. It's like an emotional, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to realize that you could still have all that technology and advancement and still work like that. It was really hard for me to understand how that happened. But we got out of the train. We're going to his apartment building, and we get up there. He's on a higher level. He opens the door and he's shocked and surprised to see me. So obviously he didn't know that me and Derek were going to meet him, and he's embarrassed because of the situation of his people and what they've gone through. And we've never seen him at his home before, and now we're at his home, and he's humiliated that we're there. He's upset that we're there. So this race of beings, they're at least 12 to 15 feet tall. They're huge. They have bright blue skin, long black hair, humanish features, but more warrior type. They're very, very warrior type. That's what I got from them. Huge muscles, but beautiful, wonderful people. He was a wonderful friend. I can't remember his name. That was taken from me too. I know that we've had a lot of interactions, but that's the only one that I really can remember clearly. He let us in his apartment. His apartment was probably, for being almost 15 feet tall. If we took this room and divided it by half, that was where his living quarters were. Everything all crunched in together. I felt like a 5-year-old when I stood next to him, because I mean, I literally came to his hip. And of course, Derek is shorter than me. I mean, and so his bed, which was also his couch, we hopped on, and my feet, are dangling. And he just said, "I don't know why you guys are here. Please leave. I'm so embarrassed that you see me living like this. This isn't how our people used to live." So we left. It was sad. And that's the story that I wanted to share, that everybody, there are star beings. A lot of them are helping us, but they have gone through a lot of what we have gone through here as in humanity. They do it there too. So I call it the train ride to subjugation. It was hard for me to understand that, considering how far advanced they are and why they would do that to another race. So that does happen. I know it's sad, but it does happen. Later on, we were all given ships to fly. My team that I was with, I have flown 1-seater ships. I do have a few memories of those pretty clearly. The last memory I have, we were all checking in. We weren't wearing helmets or anything. You just get into this 1-seater ship, and they're the black triangle ones, the small ones, if anybody's ever seen those. Those are human and star being combined. Different races fly those. We were flying in space, doing test runs and checking in with each other. "Are you there, Derek?" "Yes, I'm here." "Jenny, are you there?" "Yes, I'm here." "What's your coordinate?" "What are you doing? Where are you?" We were practicing coordinating flying ships. So that was really neat. I did that a lot. Our team was assigned a mission, and the mission was that we had to go get a piece of technology. We needed to get a piece of technology, so actually me and Derek were assigned to go get the piece of technology, and his people that live here on Earth had that technology. The reason why we needed that technology was because there was a huge spaceship, we were told, that was coming into our solar system or galaxy. But a lot of the other star beings didn't know much about the race that was coming, and they were coming, and that we needed that technology to get on the ship to do recon, and that was our mission. So I went with Derek to his village to get this technology. I know that his village is somewhere in South America. If I knew exactly where it was, I wouldn't tell anybody just because I respect him. His people are allies to humans, and they are actually bridge workers too, to help us between the star beings and humans. They do a lot of background work. We got to his village, and the same thing, there were huge gates, but they were made out of wood, and they opened. I walked into his village, and of course I'm the only human again. Hustle and bustle of people in the women, you know, they all have the long heads, the women wearing their dresses with aprons and the handkerchiefs on their long heads. I cannot remember if any of them had hair. I try to remember that. I don't think they had hair. I'm not sure. Some of them might have. And they're all like, everybody's bustling around. The buildings reminded me of the roundish oatmeal boxes. They were all like this with thatched roofs. The community was very elder centered, so we were sent to meet the elders to get this piece of technology. Happened to be the elder that gave us the technology was his father, and he gave us, so we went to their house, to the elders, actually the middle of the town, in one of those strange buildings. Went in, all the elders were gathered around, and I asked, we told them we needed the technology. They already knew that we were coming, of course, and knew that they had to give us the technology. They gave us a piece of technology. It reminded me of like a hockey puck. I didn't know what it was for. They handed it to me. We took it, we left. I think the elders had some words for us, but I can't really remember much. But I do know that they are here on this world. I know that a lot of them have been born here too, generation after generation after generation. They've been here for quite some time. So the next memory I don't have the full memory of the mission on the spacecraft. I know that the only reason why I have a piece of memory, just a sliver of memory of being on the spacecraft, is because of the thoughts that I had at the time, because it was so strange. I remember walking down a corridor. We're on the spacecraft. Obviously, we got on with the piece of technology that we needed. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to. The race, I still don't know the race of beings that came, that all the other star beings had no idea. They didn't know much about them. They knew little about them, and we were doing recon. I'm walking through, which I think might have been close to maybe where the engines were, or the mechanical parts of running the ship were. I'm walking down this huge corridor. I mean, the ship is huge, and there's rooms off to the side. And I'm looking around me. I know Derek is next to me, and we're all in uniforms, by the way. We did have uniforms. And I look behind me, and there's two humans behind me, and I think there's star beings behind me. And we're walking towards which is part of the engine rooms. And I think that's our mission, is to get that technology into the engine room so they can find out more about these this race of beings. I have no idea who they are. If anybody knows of any new star beings that came about 30 years ago, that's who they are. I don't know if they just came through and passed through, but I remember thinking, I'm like, this ship is so big, and they don't even know that we're on it. They had no idea that my team was on the ship. The race of beings, I think, might have been asleep. I'm not sure, traveling so far. they didn't know that we were on it. That we never got caught. We got on and we got off, and there was no trace of us. And I thought that was bizarre. And that's why I remember the story of being on the ship, because I found it so odd that they had no idea that we were there. So it might have been the technology, might not have been, sure. So I do have other stories or other memories. And that rounds up all of the memories I have right now of being with that military federation, whatever you want to call it, joint venture between humans and star beings. I know it lasted a few years. I know that I was taken at night a lot. And we did a lot of work together, not just on this world, but going to other worlds around too. But I do have a lot of memories. I know that I worked a lot in the Antarctica. I know that there's a base down there, I know that for sure, because I do have memories. And that might be where one of their main bases are too, besides the southern Colorado. Being on huge ships and flying over South America, looking down at the ground. I remember seeing it. I have memories of that flight path over and over and over and over again. I think I remember one of the last times being on one of those ships. I was thinking, God, I want this trip again. I've been on it so many times. So I know that there is a base in South America or Antarctica. I know, I'm not sure if there's bases in the North Pole. I think there is a lot of activity up there, and I think there's a lot of ancient activity up there, buried under the snow, because I've seen some of them on my journeys. But I don't know if there's a base up there. So then around 2009, Ancient Aliens came on TV. I'm sure everybody remembers that. I know that it was a wake-up call to a lot of people who I call sleepers, that helped wake a lot of sleepers up who have had a lot of interactions with star beings as well. There's a story that I read from when I was little about the house of oatmeal cookies, where I was taken a lot when I was little by a race of beings with the black hair, the big eyes, the bump on the forehead. One of them thought, or might have been, I'm not sure, called me her mother. They used to make us oatmeal cookies, and they would take us in the middle of the night. And I'm watching Ancient Aliens one night, and they show a picture of a woman that they claim somebody found on the moon, I think. I can't remember. And they show it on TV, and I'm like, is this a joke? And I start getting emotional, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, this is bizarre. I'm like, these are the people that I know from the House of Oatmeal Cookies. I'm like, I know this race of beings. I'm like, is this fake? And my mind, I'm like, this is a big picture. This can't be. This isn't right. So, and then I start crying. I'm thinking, is my mom dead? Because she used to call herself my mom, because she looked just like my mom. And I get really emotional, and then I get angry. I'm like, why would they show this on TV? This is not real. I was really upset. I couldn't believe they showed it. I'm like, this is fake. Why would they do that? And I'm like, this looks just like the people that I met when I was little. They used to come and take me and my little brother. She used to make us oatmeal cookies. She wanted us to eat them. Of course, we never ate them because, she was a strange looking star being. So later on, I know that I did have a child with one of them. And they used to come to my front yard, and they would bring the baby to me, and the father and me would hold the baby, and we'd hug, because the baby needed love from the mother. So I did find the picture, and I printed it. I wanted you guys all to see it. I don't know if anybody watched this episode. I know that it's been around the internet. It's kind of disturbing to me, because it looks just like the mother who used to take me and my brother. Has anybody ever seen this on Ancient Aliens?
When was that on?
Ancient Alien.
On TV?
Yeah.
Like regular time.
Yeah. It's on
History
History Channel. So they showed this picture. I mean, this isn't the one that used to come to me, but this is what they look like. If you can imagine, if her eyes were open, the larger mouth that's more relaxed, the big, huge eyes, the bump on the forehead. I was in shock. I don't know if this is fake or not, but to me, it was real, and it was really upsetting to see that it was on TV. They claimed that this woman, this star being, they found frozen on the moon. I don't know how they got the picture, but this is the race that I had a lot of work. I worked with a lot when I was younger, so I don't know. They were able to see that. And then last time, somebody asked me if I remembered any of my time before I was born on this world. And I wasn't sure exactly what she was asking, if she was asking if I remembered making decisions to come to this world, or if she was asking me if I remember any of my past lives on other planets. So I wanted to bring that up, that I do have a couple of memories. Both are aquatic worlds. One of my memories that I have is transporting large aquatic life on a ship, a huge ship, obviously. We were transporting whales and sharks, and they were bigger than what we see here on Earth. They were huge. So there was a ship, and we had the aquarium, which looked more like it was huge. It was just huge. And then, of course, bridges and stuff over the aquarium, and actual ships in the aquarium on the ship. So a ship on a ship. That's how big this aquarium was. The aquatic life was very intelligent, very intelligent. You could see them watching you. I think they might have been able to communicate. I was actually in charge of helping take care of that aquatic life on the ship while we were transporting it. Where we were transporting it from, I don't know. What race of being I was at that time, I can't remember. I just remember, I remember that there was an accident too, and I think we didn't make it to where we were supposed to go. And that's why I have a fear of water. I know why I have a fear of water. I remember falling into the aquarium with the sharks and the whales. That memory I have very clearly. The other memory I have is being on a SeaWorld, and this memory is really confusing for me because I feel like I look like I am now, but the beings that were there are light blue skinned with silver short hair, and they all live underwater. They have igloos. They look like igloos, but they're underwater. Half of it's underwater, half of it's up. They don't need air. They could swim underwater. They have these little machines that you could sit on that look like long bikes that you could travel underwater and above water on. And I was on an outpost stationed with another couple other beings, and we used to go, I don't know if we were, what we did, we were just like on an outpost. I don't know what kind of work we did there, and I used to travel from one little igloo to another. And then that's when I realized I didn't need air to breathe, because I was one of them, and I used to fly under or swim under the ground, under on the flying machines under the water too. So I know that somebody last time asked me if I had those memories, and I do have. Those are past life memories of me being on different planets and different worlds. So. So in my late 30s, I knew that I was different, not only with my gifts, and I didn't know how to find anybody who was like me. I was very alone in a lot of these journeys. until I stumbled upon Gayle. I would I didn't know what Reiki was. I didn't know, I mean, I knew what shamanism was, but I didn't know how to get a hold of anybody like me. I never really talked a lot about my stories. So me and my friend, we were trying to just find anybody like us. And we're like, well, let's just Google, maybe there's witch covens or something that can help us. We didn't know. We didn't know where to look. So we started Googling witch covens, and then one of them wanted us to apply to become part of the coven. So we got online, we started applying. And this is before I knew what spirit guides were, even though I had spirit guides. And I talked to them, I didn't realize that they were called spirit guides. We're getting ready to maybe join this coven, and even though I kind of have a bad feeling, and out of nowhere, which I do believe this might be who I call teacher, tells me, don't join, danger, danger. Like, he's yelling at me, don't do it. He said, you need to put yourself to sleep. I'm like, put myself to sleep. He said, you need to put yourself to sleep. Put yourself to sleep. I needed to put my knowing to sleep, my ability that I have, anything. He just said, put yourself to sleep. And I was scared. I was driving to work, and he's yelling at me, you need to put yourself to sleep. Now you're in danger. So I put myself to sleep. My abilities, I mean, I still could walk into a room and fill a room. I threw away all my tarot cards. I got rid of everything. Because I was scared to death. And he wanted me to put myself to sleep. I know that I was still taken by star readings at night. A lot of it I don't remember. I lived in the Muggle world very deeply for about 10 years while I was asleep. I know that by the time I was 26, I had a boyfriend. I knew that I was pregnant. I should have been at least 4 months pregnant. We went to the doctor to confirm and start working on what, you can't hear the heartbeat, all this. We get to the doctor, and the baby has been taken. It disappeared. I didn't have a miscarriage. It was taken. So I know that happens to a lot of other people. A lot of babies go missing. I did look into that. After COVID, I looked into that. I did a lot of reading about it, and I was surprised about how often that happens. A lot of women are like, I know I'm pregnant. You know when you're pregnant, and then you go to the doctor and there's no baby. It was very confusing. I was taken. I know that they had, during that time that I was told to be put to sleep, I was taken a lot. And I know that a lot of my eggs were taken. I know that I was really used as I contributed a lot to high reds, put it that way. I did wake up a couple of times. This might be disturbing for some, knowing that somebody was having sex with me as well, and I would wake up and they'd be gone. So I know that I was taken. I've never met any of those children. I know that I've met one that used to come when I was a teenager. The people, the race with the oatmeal cookies, they would come to my front yard, with the baby, and I would hold the baby. I don't know if that baby made it though, because the baby was very sick. It was 50% human, 50% whatever race they were, and it was struggling. So I know that I did sign agreements for that to happen. I know that I was part of that agreement. So I'm not upset. I just hope that my children that they've taken from me are well loved and taken care of. They better be. That's all I know. So I was put to sleep for about 10 years. About 2 years before COVID. I woke up. I don't know what woke me up. I don't know if it was scheduled, timed. It was the most bizarre thing. I woke up to all of my abilities coming back to me just in a flood. I mean, it was like the most magical thing I've ever been through, to be put to sleep and then have all of your abilities come back. There were hawks that would drop feathers on me. There were dragonflies that would just sit and swirl around me, and I had I would all of a sudden I had the urge to buy crystals, and I didn't know these, crystals, and I pulled them in, and entities would come to me, and I had spirits and just a whole lot. And then I had urges that I needed to find my people, I needed to find my tribe. Huge urges. I needed to find what I needed to do. I was missing something, and I stumbled upon Gayle and became a Reiki Master. I stumbled upon Colleen, and she's telling me some shamanic practice work, and she's worked on me. And then right before COVID, the UFO, UAP starving activity lit up like fireworks. There was a lot of UAP, UFO activity. So that happened after about a year after I woke up, right before COVID. So I will go on to that. But this didn't take as long as I thought.
Was the reawakening in 2018 by any chance?
It was 2018.
2 years before COVID?
Yeah, that 2 years before COVID, that was my awakening. Although I was awake from before, I was put to sleep. They didn't put me to sleep. They asked me to put myself to sleep, and I did put myself to sleep. I really put myself to sleep in a lot of ways, and I really was in the muggle world wholeheartedly. Every once in a while, I'd see somebody do tarot cards, and I'm like, oh, tarot cards, but the UFO activity started that summer before COVID. I was taken, one of the first memories I have, I was taken to have a procedure done by a race of beings. These race of beings might get mistaken for the grays that people talk about. They really look like them, but they have blue skin. I have a lot of blue skin races that come to me. They have, the big eyes, barely the nose, spindly, short. They were walking me underground world again. I don't know where we were. I don't know if we were off planet or on planet, to have a surgical procedure, whatever they were going to do to me. I knew that I was having it. We were talking. I know these people. They take me to the room to get ready for the surgery. Of course, they knock me out. Next thing I know, I'm waking up, and when you wake up from surgery, who here has had surgery before, you're already out of it. But humans can feel, and even though you feel you're in a sterile environment, you're still on Earth, and you also can feel that there's a human watching over you. And then they start talking to you. Jeni, it's time to wake up. Come on, wake up. Well, I woke up from my surgery, and I felt that I was not on Earth. I felt that who was sitting next to me was not a human. And of course, I start screaming. I'm screaming. I'm waving. I'm trying to get up off it. My eyes are still shut. I know somebody's holding me down. I'm my eyes. I'm like, oh, I know you. Never mind. I knew her. I just didn't feel her. Everything was weird. And when you wake up from surgery, I don't know what they did to me. She was, I think a lot of people have met her before. She's a nurse, I think, for people who are taken. And when they wake up, she's there. I have read books, but people have mentioned her exactly. She looks like a gray, but she has blue skin with the chin, and she has long black hair. She does have hair, and she's really spindly. She looks stern. A lot of people get really scared when they see her because when you see those big black eyes, we're so used to seeing emotion in human eyes. They don't really show emotion. So you get scared and you're thinking, oh my God, how cold. She's really not. She's there to help you. She's holding you down so you don't, bust a stitch open or something. You're coming out of a procedure. There were others around. And I'm like, okay, now that you know who we are, and I knew them because I worked with them before. They leave me in the room. Of course, I'm butt ass naked. Of course, you don't know where your clothes are. You don't get a locker with a key. Your clothes are gone and you're naked. And I'm like, they just left me in the room. They left Jeni in her room by herself. And there are 2 doors. Which door should I go through? Because I'm going to go exploring. So I went to the first door, cracked it open, and they were on the other side. So I shut it. I'm like, I'm going to go to the next door, open the door. I didn't get far before they came back in the room. They're like, Jeni, get back on the table. You're going to, you're recovering from whatever procedure we did. And I'm like, fine. So I know a lot of people wake up and they're scared. They say, and I have no clothes on. I'm naked. What they do to me? I'm not sure what they do. And I know it is frightening and some of them do feel violated. But I call it skinny ship dipping when you wake up. That's great. Because it happens a lot when they take you and they do procedures. And I know for some people it's very serious and they probably won't find that funny, but that's what I call it because I know I walked around many ships naked before. So that's how they take you. That's what the human will do. Skinny ship dipping. I did meet another race of beings that came to me after I woke up. They came, and I think that when they come, I think it takes them a while to get here. So they're not here all the time. They're here. When they come, it takes them about 7 years to get here. That's what I got. So when they leave, you won't see them for a while until they come back. It takes them a while to get here. This race of being is tall, really tall. I never got a clear look at what they look like. They really used avatars. So I never got to see what they look like. The first time I met him, though, he came. He must have been assigned to me as well. He came to me. I was I seemed to be on a street. He came at night, so they put you in situations. So whatever they're going to do with you. I knew he was a star being when he walked up to me, and the avatar that they used was a mix of a man that I knew in my 20s who was tall and had long blonde hair. He wasn't like a guy with long hair, right? And a homeless man that I used to see on the street. He used to remind me of my friend that I used to know. And that's what he used to combine it. And I like looking at him like, how did you? I always wondered why they come up with, what they cover themselves with. Why would he use both those images? He combined them together. It was bizarre, but that's what he looked like. I didn't mind, but and he kept his tallness, so he kept at least 6'4", even though he was taller. So a trick that I have, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, when I am taken, if there's a window or a mirror, something that is reflective, you're taken on an astral level and you're walking with them. And if they have an avatar on, you don't know what they look like. Try to look in the mirror, try to look in the window, and sometimes you might see what they actually look like. So I did that. We were walking, he introduced himself. We're walking. I noticed that a window's coming up. And I'm like, I'm going to see what this guy looks like. He knew my trick. He got me, but I was only able to see up to his shoulders, and his shoulders were at least 6'4". I mean, I couldn't see what he looked like really. He never showed me. He just showed me that avatar of the combination of the homeless man and my friend from when I was younger, which was weird. But he was with me for at least 4 months right before COVID. They actually came to Earth because they knew COVID was happening and they came to watch it. During this time, when he took me, time sometimes is different when they take you. We actually lived years together when he would take me at night. So when I was taken by this race of beings, years would go by that I lived with them. We actually lived together, like boyfriend and girlfriend, if that makes sense. I remember moving shoes into a room, just weird. They took me because they were watching me because they knew that I was a sleeper. I did have a lot of interactions with a lot of different star beings, so that's the reason why I was taken. They were also upgrading at that point my vibrations and upgrading so I could handle COVID. And so obviously, so I could talk about it now, so you know the different races out there. Their leader is a female, so I'm not sure if they're hive-like or not. He took me to what seemed to be a gathering of others like him, and humans were there too. Some of them were not fully awake, like I've seen before. I sat next to, so we went to this gathering. I sat next to a human that I know that I've met before in these other, probably in when I was a part of that military operation in my early 20s. I do believe that I met him before, and he was agitated, so I don't know if he was fully awake. I was fully awake. And I said, and I, went like this, and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God, I know this human. And he looked at me and he punched my leg and he said, I don't know who you are, because he was agitated. Obviously, he was taken and he wasn't handling the experience very well. And I looked at the star being who I was living with at the time, and I said, I thought we were friends. I was very confused. And he said, he does not know yet he does not yet remember who you are. So he just was not fully awake. He was still being taken, but he didn't have the memories like I had memories. And he wasn't awake. I always made it a point to be awake. I'm pretty strong-willed while I've been taken, so I can remember, even though there's a lot that I don't remember. They worked a lot with me on raising my vibrations. I really, I remember going into a room, and before I knew what a higher self was, even though everybody knows what it is, they just didn't know, we didn't have a name for it. I saw my higher self, and there were these huge 4-foot blocks, and they were like stacked like a loaf of bread, and I was moving them and arranging them and moving them and arranging them. And I'm in this room. I know I've been in this room before. And I asked myself, because I'm looking at myself, which is my higher self. It's kind of weird when you see your higher self, although I did when I was in my 20s, I saw my higher self too. But I'm like, what are you doing? And I said, rearranging my vibrations. I'm like, oh, okay. So there are these big blocks, and I was just moving them into a pattern that I needed to move them, and I left. One of the last time, the very last time that I saw that star being, he told me this. He said, and it was very confusing because he did speak kind of Yoda language. It was very strange the way he spoke, and I'd have to sit and listen to him. What are you trying to say? He said, this was about 2, maybe 6 weeks before the first COVID case showed up in the United States. He said he was leaving me, and I was really upset because we were really close. Every time he took me, it was years. We were together for years. And it was the last time I was going to see him. It was kind of emotional, and he warned me. He said, we are here to, excuse my words, because I think his words were wrong. We are here to fuck you while you get sick. And I said, what? I'm like, you mean you're having sex with us? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, no. He said, we're here to watch you or something while you are all sick. And they said, who's all of us that are sick? I'm like, I'm not sick. I'm like, who's getting sick? And he looked at me and he was surprised. I don't think he was supposed to tell me that we were all getting sick. I had no idea what he was talking about. And then COVID hit. And he was trying to warn me that they were still going to be here. He had not left yet. And they were monitoring the humans while we had COVID. And because of all of that, well, actually, I'll finish this. So during that time, I would go to work and I would have compulsions to pick up the phone and call like really important people in the world. Like I'd just be sitting there. So they were giving me information. They were telling me, and I think I was supposed to tell somebody that COVID was happening, but who am I? So I would actually be working and I'd pick up the phone and I'd be like, I need to call Elon Musk, and I'd start dialing a number. I'm like, oh, why do I need to call this guy? What am I going to say? Hey, I'm Jeni, and their aliens are coming to watch us while we all get sick. It was very confusing. Also, at that time when I'd go to work, music would start playing, and I couldn't find the source of it. And I'd walk around my office, see where this music came from. There was no music. I'd be like, okay, I'm not going crazy. I know I've gone to a psychologist to have myself checked before because of all the bizarre stuff that's happened in my life. I'm not crazy, not at all. The music was purely piano. I've never heard the song never heard these songs because there was more than one ever. I've never heard a human play. It was the most beautiful piano music I've ever heard. And I think that music was also changing the vibrations around too and helping people. I don't know how many other people heard that music. I heard it during Christmas too. They would start singing the Christmas songs, but they were slightly different. And I'd be like, what? And I would hear it overlaid over the songs on the radio station. I heard a lot of music too. I Googled it and they're like, if you hear music and it's not there, go see a doctor. I'm like, I'm not crazy. I don't need to see a doctor. I know I'm not crazy. I'm not going to see a doctor. But that happened a lot. Actually, some of the music almost brought me to tears. It was like, it was beautiful. So I wanted to say that because then at that time, I was being taken almost every night between different races of beings, between the blue ones that look like the grays, that other star people that came in and took me and actually can change time, and you live with them for years, and you've only been gone a night. They put you back and they take you again, and you're gone for a long time. So you have relationships with them. I decided then to call MUFON, which I wish I never would have. I don't know if anybody know what MUFON is. They monitor sightings. They also have experiencers, people who work with experiencers, which I would be, or if anybody who's ever had contact with beings, experiencers. So I got in touch with them. I'm gonna just ask what's going on. I don't understand what's going on. They had an experiencer worker call me, and she, this was right before New Year's. We did like 3 calls at night, and they lasted like 2 hours because, of course, I had a lot of stories to tell her. I don't know how much she believed me. I said, well, what do I do? I don't know what to do. She said, well, just ask them to come and show themselves in the 3D, because you've had a lot of experiences. Just tell them, come and see me. I'm like, okay. Made me a little nervous. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try that. So during this time, I'm driving home from work, and I'm like, okay, guys, how about you just come and wake me up at night at the end, and come and show up at the end of my bed. And right away, they all popped in. They're like, no, you're not ready for that. And I'm like, yeah, I am. So we argued all the way up Wadsworth. I'm like, I'm ready. Just come and see me. They're like, no, you're not ready. I'm like, I'm ready, guys. And they're like, no, you're not ready. And I'm like, you're right. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for you guys to show up at the end of my bed. So then I said, well, how about a password, or just give me something. You don't have to come and see me just when I'm asleep. Like, give me a word, just one word. So I went to bed that night. I had done my last interview with MUFON. I try to get those tapes back because I really wanted to share them, and they won't respond to me, so I can't get them back. A lot of the stories, I think there might be a couple more stories that I don't know about, but I can't get them to even, I email them. I've left voicemails. They won't give me my tapes back. I know that she recorded them too. My last interview was New Year's Eve, right before COVID happened. And she told me that somebody who had that many stories, it couldn't be true. And that really devastated me. I'm like, I'm not making this up. I know what I've seen. I've actually come a foot away from a spaceship, and I'm actually almost touched it. You know, I know what I've seen. I know what I've experienced. I know what I've lived. And this isn't too much. If it's too many stories, there's a lot of people out there who have more stories than I have. So she's just sent me a list of books to read, and then she went AWOL. I couldn't get a hold of her after that again, which was bizarre to me too. MUFON, why didn't she? She just wouldn't respond to me after that. So
The IRS.
mhm. It actually made me nervous, and it was the first time in my life that I'd ever been frightened of star beams, and it really upset me that I was scared of them. And it was because I did those interviews with MUFON. They put doubt in my head. I became so frightened that I couldn't fall asleep at night because I knew I was going to be taken. At the same time of being frightened, I'm so upset because some of these guys are my friends. I mean, I've had a lot of experiences. I have friends out there. Why am I frightened now? So I'm lying awake at night, and they're trying to calm me down, and they're sending orbs. So I'm lying awake at night, and there's orbs flying around, and I'm scared to death, and they're sending orbs. They're little, if anybody's ever seen the little orbs, they send orbs. Probably just to help you. They were trying to help me. They were making it worse. The room is even darker, even though I know it wasn't as dark as it was, just because I was so scared. I sleep with my door shut and a fan going because I have a hard time sleeping. There's orbs flying around me. There's weirdness. They start sending, I think, mechanical bugs that look like bugs that are this big. And I'm like lying in my room, and there's a mechanical bug on the top of my wall crawling. I'm like, you guys are scaring me more than you're helping me right now. And helicopters are flying over my house. Because of all the UFO activity, I know the government monitors that, and there was so much UFO activity that was going on in my house with me that they're now sending helicopters over and monitoring me. I finally go to bed that night, and I'm woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a word that they shouted at me. They literally yelled it at me. They said, Titan 1. And I'm like, there's the word. I get the word Titan 1, and I realize it is a password. It's a password that I needed to tell somebody about COVID. I didn't know who to tell. Obviously, it doesn't matter anymore, but it's the secret code password. That's when I started having the compulsion during work to pick up the phone and call people. I needed to give them this password, Titan 1. I mean, I Googled it. Titan 1 is an old rocket that was sent to space. That's retired now. That's at Martin Marietta. That exact night, though, if you ever get on MUFON, a UFO UAP was reported exactly at the time that I woke up over Martin Marietta with Titan 1. I don't know if that Titan 1, if they were trying to tell me that they were over Titan 1, which is the retired rocket that sent this ship to space, or if it was password that needed to be given. It was strange. I did so many times pick up the phone trying to call Elon Musk, and I would put the phone down and I'm like, why am I trying to call him? I don't even know him. I don't even know what this guy does. Just the two, and there was another person I was trying to call too. I never called him though. I thought, what? I'm crazy. This is crazy. That happened. And after that, the story of the window happened. I'm going to tell that again, just because the people who weren't here the last time, it's an important story that I wanted to share. It'll be the last story. 18 that I'm going to share. It's about my friend that has worked with me and has taken me on many occasions, and I call him teacher. He has taught me a lot. He took me about 6 weeks or so as well before COVID, and he I was taken. I'm walking into this room, and I've been in this room lots of times. It's dimly lit. You guys probably remember this story about the window. I see the star beam, the back of him. He has his avatar on, so I don't know what he looks like. And I noticed like he looks really eccentric this time. He's wearing a long velvet red robe, and he has his avatar has long golden blonde hair, and I'm looking at him from behind. I'm like, oh, he's kind of eccentric this time, but I'm more interested in the room because he has everything that I love around the room. He has this whole setup for me. Archaeology, anthropology, there's old antique books, there's antiques, there's human skulls, there's all of these neat things that I love all over the room. There's a huge long mahogany table that he's standing in front of with human skulls and just antiquity, stuff of antiquity. And I walking up and I'm looking at everything, and I come around the table. I look up at him, and he has disguised himself as Jared Leto. And I'm really tired because I have been taken a lot. I mean, I'm living years sometimes at night, and I'm exhausted. I don't know what's going on. Why are there so many star beams? Why am I think I'm taken almost every night, and you still need sleep. I still need sleep, even though I'm taken on an astral level. You still need sleep. I was irritated. I'm like, he's in a red robe. He's got long golden hair. He's got the face of Jared Leto. And I just said, really, really. And that really upset him. He got really upset. He put a lot of effort into the whole situation, into the room, into me being there. He had done it for me as a gift. I felt bad. And he shot me out astrally, out of that room very fast. I remember turning into energy, a light energy, like a coil. I was coiled up and I was going fast, and I could see my house coming up. I could see my window, and I'm like, I'm going through that window. I'm going through that window. And I know people who astral project, you don't even think about it, you just go. But I knew that he was shooting me back into that window, and I was going to fill the window. I knew it. Came up to the window, started going through the window. I could feel the window scraping along my DNA or energy, whatever I am. I'm kind of astral light at that time, and I could feel the difference between me and the window. I could feel it like scraping along my arms. I can't even tell you the feeling of going through something, how he sent me through. I see my body on the bed. I hit the side of my temple going through because he knocked me fast. He was really upset. He's upset with me. As soon as I hit the side of my temple, it fully my body now, but the force of it threw me off my bed. I landed on the floor, picked myself up. I'm pissed. I'm like, you fucking asshole. You're not allowed. to come and see me. Don't come knocking on my window. How dare you send me back like that? I mean, I know I upset you. I upset him. He upset me. I said, you're not allowed to come and see me anymore. You're not allowed. So don't come and see me. I was pretty upset. I Googled on, I don't know if everybody gets on Google. I'm like, how do I keep aliens from coming to my bedroom window? So they're like, buy selenite sticks and put them by your window, and that'll tell them they can't. So I bought selenite sticks, and I'm like, selenite's is not gonna keep the star being. Just telling you, because they still came. He didn't come, but you could still tell them that you don't want them to come. And I told them, I'm like, you're not allowed to come and see me for a while. We were really upset with each other for a couple of years, and he came back to me at a very pivotal time, which I'll talk about. Well, I guess I could talk about it now. He did come back. I got COVID, but I didn't get it till the very end because I really didn't think I would get COVID. The business industry I'm in is the title industry, so that didn't shut down. People still came to close on houses and to refinance their houses. It didn't shut down. So I did get COVID towards the end, but I did not think I was going to get COVID because of all of the manipulation that they had done to me. They had done a lot. They rearranged my vibrations, sent music. I thought I was protected. I didn't think I was going to get it. I got the Omicron at the very end, like everybody else. It was probably the day that I got it. I probably saw about 100 people come through our office because there were so many closings going on. And I know that everybody that I knew got it at the same time that I got it. COVID latched on to a piece of DNA that I had that was sleeping, lupus, and turned it on full force. So I never, the COVID had all the little crowns that latched on to a dormant DNA. It probably never would have turned on my whole entire life, probably just would have been asleep the whole time. So I worked a lot with Colleen. She helped me with lupus, and she did we did a shamanic journey, which is when you go in and they take you apart, and then they build you a dismemberment and rememberment. I always forget the words for that. So in this journey, you are supposed to go if you have an illness or just anything that you would like to get rid of. You could, one of your spirit guides comes and they strip you, however it happens in your journey, and then you go up to the stars or the void, and you get some more messages if you can. And then you go back, and then you're remembered by maybe the same spirit guide or a different spirit guide. I don't, however it works for everybody's journey is different. So I got there, of course, we did this journey, and my main spirit guide, a polar bear, showed up, ripped my throat out. Bear stood over me, guarded my body. I'm like, I floated up above my body, so you're already astrally in the journey, and it's weird to see your body. And I'm like, I think I'm ready, Colleen. She's all, go to the void. So I didn't make it to the void. I made it to the stars because I love the stars. It's where my piece is. Got some messages. Time was up to go back to be remembered. I get back. I'm looking at my bear. I call her Bear. She's my polar bear, main spirit guide. I'm like, Bear, it's time to remember me. And she's not moving. She's standing over my body. She's guarding it. I'm like, Bear. And I feel like I'm running out of time. And I think we were getting close. And I'm like, Bear, it's time to be remembered. And she's not doing anything. And out of the corner of my eye, a huge 12-foot alien walks out of nowhere. And I know who he is. And I believe he's teacher. And he is tall. I guess maybe you would call him Arcturian or something. I know we all have labels for all these different beings. I'm not sure if they're all correct. Huge bulbous head, huge bulbous head. He's wearing the red robe. So he'd always wear the red robe. That's where that eccentric velvet red robe comes from. He wears it. He just walks up to me, he doesn't say one word, his big spindly hand on my head like this, and he just flips me and I'm flipped up. He grabs a big crystal, he just shoves it in my head. He's not gentle at all, by the way, at all. Next thing I know, he has me in water and I'm like this the whole time. God, what in the world? I never put my magical and my ET world, I'm going to say ET this time. I never combined them. They had never been combined. They'd always been separated. I never thought of them as together. And he's remembering me. And I'm like, Colleen said, you could always ask for more crystals. I'm like, can I have a crystal for my heart too? And he brings this big crystal, he puts it in my heart. And then he just gets up, turns around and walks away. So he showed up at a really pivotal time in my life where I really needed him, even though we had been really upset with each other. And I told him not to come and visit me. He came and he remembered me to help me with my lupus, which was pretty cool. So at that time also, I was arguing with Star Beings about still coming to see me in the 3D world. I still wanted to see if I could handle it. And after they gave me the password and that didn't work out and COVID is already rampant. I said, how about you knock on my window? Maybe if you just knock on my window and I'll just come and see you. So I was still really tired. They were still around. And one night, my window was on the second floor. A human just can't knock on my window. One of them showed up and knocked on my window. I think he was sitting crouched by the windowsill. I was too tired to get up. And I said, I'll just catch you next time I go to the window. I was so exhausted. I finally was able to fall asleep after being awake. I think I was getting about 2 hours of sleep a night because I had scared myself to death because I had talked to MUFON, which I wish I never would have. And I was exhausted and they came to the window and I missed my opportunity. So I said, how about you just knock on a window another night? And they did, and I didn't get up again because I'm so tired. I don't give up much. Maybe I shouldn't do the window knocking thing anymore. Maybe there's a different way. But so that wraps up this story time with Star Beings. Hopefully those stories help people. Anybody has any questions? I know there were a lot more questions last time.
The first time I heard the backside you got to my journey, you never told me that.
Right, I remembered that journey and I woke up and I'm like, I just got body slammed by an alien. She's all wet. I'm like, really?
But I didn't know what the alien meant to you. Yeah, I didn't know the whole backstory.
I realized that was a teacher after a while. It took me a while. Well, those were the middle journeys. I did a lot of military work then. I think a lot of people have been a part of it actually.
When you were talking about the mountains, like the 3 peaks or whatever, I heard Durango, Silverthorne, and like San Mountains.
Yeah, it was in the San Juans. Yeah. Somebody said Bridgeway, but yeah, could be Crested Butte.
Well, no, Preston, where there's 5 peaks in the San Juan Mountains.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they were. There's also this flying wish paper. If anybody would like to make a wish, Annelle brought it. She thought that everybody needed it if you'd like to. Just to help.
I go with okay.
Yeah. Bridge. I think you write something on it, right?
Yeah.
Write a wish, and then we can light it. Can we do that in here, Gayle?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, my question is, based on your experiences, Jenny, like what do you think the star beings, like what's their goal, like with respect to humans and the earth? Do you think they're trying to raise our vibration or are they just kind of experimenting with us? Because I've had some non-humans do things with me, experiment with me, and I can't figure out like how it's helping me or what are your thoughts on that? Like maybe they're not supposed to help, maybe they're just playing. I mean, what do you think their mission is or their goal?
I think that the answer to that is both.
Okay.
That some of them are trying to help us evolve, raise our vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I got channeled to me this morning to everybody, it's time to wake up and start channeling that light and that love. They're helping us with that. Some of them are just experimenting on us. Unfortunately, some of them are just using us for hybrids too. Some of them are doing both. So the answer to that is everything. Really depends on who you have experiences with and how you feel about it. You really need to look inward. When you were taken and feel what that felt like, was it good or was it bad?
It was neutral. It actually seems like I have a soul contract that they're just kind of checking out
Yeah.
who I am and what I'm about. And I may be getting something from the interaction as well, but it's so like esoteric and hard to understand with the human mind that I can't quite say for certain, but I feel very neutral about it. It seems like I'm part of a scientific, like, oh, let's just tinker with her and see what it's like, that kind of thing.
She's saying
Tinker with her. Tinker with her.
yeah. I think a lot of people have signed contracts with them. I know that I have. I know that that's why I know that a lot of children of mine have been taken, and I know that I've signed off on that. So it doesn't upset me if that sounds strange. It really doesn't. I know I have a lot of children out there. I know a lot of other people do. But I signed those contracts. I signed the contracts to meet all of these beings too, and I came here to help at this time because it's a pivotal time right now for everybody to wake up. It really is, because there's a lot of work to be done because we're not on the same timeline that we're supposed to be on, and we need to heal that, bridge that really. And I think a lot of them are helping us with that right now. A lot of the ones that I've worked with. So was it COVID that broke that timeline? I don't know. I think actually it was broken before COVID. I think it has a lot to do with we're all trying to evolve, and this is what I feel like. Get past money. We got past money, we would be where we need to be. Money is governing the world. There's no reason why nobody should be starving right now. There should be clean water everywhere. I know we have the technology for it, but it's all based around money and greed. Power, yeah, unfortunately. And our timeline was broken. We're not on the timeline we're supposed to be on. We should be in more unity right now. It's very confusing to me.
So the first contact with the principal, different people say that maybe 2027. I feel it's going to be sooner.
Do you?
And I think it's funny because they use the word first contact, but I think first contact for many people has already happened.
Right.
So what do you think, based on what's going on with our government? Do you think that's why the timelines are all?
I do. Yeah. I do.
Very energetic social political stuff. It's rich for the government. It's not just our government, it's the world.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's exactly what it is.
if you think about before, we kind of saw ourselves separate countries, right? Which right now it seems like countries against countries, but we're talking about as the earth as a whole and humanity as a whole. That shift is hopefully started to where we're all human beings, therefore, but I'm curious to see how it's gonna pan out. I've not been shown what that's gonna look like, other than feeling like we're gonna be like, yeah, come on in. We're gonna introduce you to people. We're gonna have a doctor What are you saying?
You know, when I was little, I did see, or younger, I did see the world that we were supposed to be living in now with I did see the vehicles, flying vehicles, the earth really healed from what we've done to it, and beautiful buildings. I saw a glimpse of that, really short, just a small, it was beautiful just to see that. Yeah. Anybody else have any other questions?
Anybody else online? I do. Are you still having it? Is that the site where you're getting taken and stuff?
I think so. They are really careful because they know that I'll try to go back or find them. Especially since taking and Telluride, they're really careful to scrub my mind so I don't remember them. But I do, like the last couple of weeks, right before I've gone to bed, I've seen something new that I haven't seen before. What came to my mind was crystalline people. They're not spirits, but they're not star beings that I'm used to. That just might be light beings. I've actually seen them before I fall asleep. Fly really fast across my room, and then they'll look for them, and now I'm so used to them. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. I think they're taking me. I like my sleep, and I know why I like my sleep because I've been taking so much that I don't get the sleep that I need. So I'm really protective of my sleep. So that's why I don't answer the knocks on my window, even though I ask him to knock on my window. And when I see him, it takes me a moment to get used to a new one. These are new. I'm not sure where they came from. So I was like, is that a spirit? Or is that, and I just got crystalline beings. So they've been working on me. I do every once in a while wake up with bruises. Usually, sometimes, you have bruises in certain spots, or it looks like somebody was guiding me. Their fingers are weird, so you'll see their fingerprints on me. I have woken up with fingerprints a lot, actually. And actually, a couple of nights ago, I didn't wake up. I did wake up with 2 bruise stripes around my ankles. I'm not sure where that came from.
Like they were strengthening?
Yeah. I don't know why I'd be restrained. That kind of irritated me.
Well, I have a friend who, he could not they couldn't figure out what's wrong with him. He was getting really sick. And, to the emergency room stuff. So I worked with him and I was like, okay, I felt like he was being taken.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what he thought about. So I was like, okay, I keep getting radiation sickness. I said, it's just weird because I would never even know what the heck it was. So I said, can you tell me? Oh yeah, the ships are coming over all the time. And he's telling me, he goes, you need to tell them that your physical body is not, like doing well or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you had to do that too?
No, I haven't gotten sick from that, but you can. That's another thing is you can talk to them. I mean, tell them, please don't take me as much, or give me a sign that you're going to take me so I could be prepared, or hey, I don't want to be taken for a month. I need a break. You can talk to them. They'll listen to you. I mean, most of them will. There are, just like humans, there are bad star beings, unfortunately.
That's my first experience with physical impact of being taken. I was like, for me, I said, no, just don't take me anymore. Just, I like the idea, but that was the recipe. And I'm like, getting this, but after that, they did make a connection. And then I went to phone. That was really interesting. And I was like, I think you're losing it.
And I think that's why I'm getting a call. I know a lot of people have been taken. And I call them sleepers. I'm getting the call to call them to wake up. It's time to wake up to help bridge workers, help bridge that. We need a lot of healing, and everybody always talks about the veil. It's getting thinner now too. So
Well, I asked you to do your stuff.
yeah.
And I would say, even if they're not sleepers, just the way you communicate your experiences, it it presents a sense of normalcy
Mhm.
and also, not fear, but actually empowerment.
Yeah.
That, you're part of, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And that's the empowerment that people
People
need
need to,
to step in to be that assistance.
and I know that there's a lot of others, they just need to wake up and remember. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because it's been normal for me. It's always been a part of my life since I can remember, since I was little. I've always had interactions with star beings. And I don't know anything different. So I think it's weird when people think it's weird that other people have. Like, it's just, for me, I know I've told Wendy a lot of stories. She's heard lots of stories before.
So Wendy, have you had any experiences? Those of you online, when you put up on Jen's side.
My youngest daughter has, I think she doesn't like talking about it. When she was little, one morning she woke up and she said, "Mom, somebody was knocking on my window and floating above my window, and they were knocking on it for me to open it." And I'm like, oh my God, they're coming to see my daughter. It's one thing when they see you, and I said, she goes, "But Mom, we're on the second story. How are they knocking on my window?" So I know that they probably are visiting her. When she's ready to talk about it, she'll be ready to talk about it. I do know that my husband has been frozen. My current husband, has been frozen in his room by light. He's like, "Did you see all that light last night? I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't move. What was that?" I'm like, "Oh my God." That's what I said. I'm like, "Sorry."
Just answered the window when they knocked.
They're not answering their.
I know, I need to answer the window.
So, talking about the physical manifestation of the,
Mhm.
so the windows,
No.
did you have any physical?
No,
marks?
and I forgot to look to see, no, because when I went through the window, I was light energy
Okay.
in my astral form, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
I was pure light. But I could feel the window. I could feel the texture,
It's like the granules of
the granules of the
Sand, yeah.
Yes. It was bizarre. But so that story is a really teachable story for a lot of people, because it from being taken from them having an avatar. I call them avatars. He's not showing me what he looks like, even though I found out what he looked like later on, being shot through a window, and then the 3D part of it, being hit in the head and being tossed off my bed. All of those teachable moments. And also important to me, that the most important teachable moment is that they have feelings too. They have feelings, and the subjugation, the train to subjugation is mind-blowing, isn't it? That's happening on other worlds too. It's just not humans. It's sad for me that I saw that,
I had a friend who just since passed, but I saw her, so close when you show the both of them. She had a lot of starting connections,
Mhm.
and I saw her, and I'm like, "Who beat you up?" Because she had like black and blue and stuff. She said, "No, they've been she fell out of her bed," she said, but she felt like she was knocked out.
Yeah.
And so when you're telling me that, I'm like,
Mhm.
let me step up and go.
Could have accidentally gone back a little rough.
Yeah. And so when she got tangled in her blankets and then more down above, like,
Yeah.
why did they hurt you? But maybe it's the
impact.
on them.
Well, and I've astral projected and accidentally clunked back. Remember, I did the somersault and fell into my body. I've done that to myself before too, and I've been astral projecting out wherever I'm going. So, I mean, that's just sometimes when you go back in your body, it's not a smooth landing.
So do you think you could do a talk with experiencers?
Yeah.
Maybe go through, maybe they can talk through things and you can share them.
Yeah, that'd be actually. I was thinking about that, just having like little every once in a while, experiencers come and just share stories and live and learn from that. That'd be really neat.
And you, working with you and
My phone.
but it helped me to kind of take some of the fear that I had. And I never said that I was taken, but obviously I was. Something that Hernandez being and stuff. And I'm thinking, that was, so I was so afraid that I put that as a trauma rather than a beautiful healing experience.
Yeah,
So, that did help. I'm still afraid of Hernandez, but that's something.
right. I know. I don't think I've ever seen a praying mantis. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen the grays that everybody is singing too, that I could remember. I mean, that's what's that?
Come over to my house.
Come over to your house. The grays are working there. Have you seen the blue ones that look like the grays too?
And the mantis. Be here. Looking on down.
Yeah.
They're not very beautiful looking too.
No, but I've heard that they're good.
They're majestic.
Yeah.
But it's
I was gonna-
that I
Yeah.
and then they were apparently they were healing me,
Mhm.
but I woke up when they were doing it and nobody else type of thing.
Yeah.
And I never knew why I was already afraid of them and never made an approach.
Yeah.
I can hear them doing like clicking sounds and they would, but man, that freaks me out. So I think it was Lori, my friend Lori, said that they came to her looking like the little Ewoks from Star Wars, and
Mhm.
she was okay with that. But they
Yeah.
had to show their true selves. I'm like, I'll take the Ewoks.
Right. I mean, they do wear those avatars for a reason because we're so human. We feel before we see, and then we open our eyes and it's foreign, and then you're like, I'm not feeling what I'm seeing. And this is not.
We're conditioned to
Yeah,
process that
yeah,
into more fear based.
Yeah.
And that's why I think having a discussion group, a
Mhm.
sharing group.
Yep.
Huge.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I would do that, Gail.
Now facilitate.
Yeah, I'll do that. I also think it's important that, and I didn't realize this for the longest time, that I always separated my magic world from the star being world, and I didn't realize that they work together. Didn't know that until I did that shamanic journey, and I was like, what is happening? How is he in my lower world? How did he get to my lower world? So that was like an eye-opening for me. And I was never conditioned to be afraid of star beings. So I just had that month after I talked to MUFON that I scared myself, and I was really disappointed in myself. I was really upset. I might have been hurting their feelings because I was so afraid of them, and they just kept sending me orbs, and there's stuff happening all over. But
People who work for me from very usually know too. Are they intuitive beings or are they more scientific?
Their mission is much more scientific. They're looking for validation, documentation, and validation, and they compare to a variety of things, including other experiencers, but also known things. And so their mission is collect information so it can be compared and hopefully filtered. So they're very analytical, and that's with a lot of those different groups, large organizations. Your question was, are they intuitive?
oh yeah,
A lot of them are.
that's how they speak. They don't
Yeah.
speak with their mouths. Everything is all intuitively.
Yeah, they're not as open about it as we are.
Some of them aren't even free-flowing words. It's just a download of information for communication. It's not like how we're speaking now. You're just downloading the information to each other.
I'm just trying to think about trying to explain to the MUFON group that this is what you said. They're like, well, what do you mean the words are disappearing or something? Like the way us, because we are open and intuitive, we may experience things differently.
Right.
And so trying to tell it to somebody who's more I just, the facts are my original facts, you know, and if I,
They do. They are trying to be facts. Did you ever work with MUFON? I can't remember. No. I think that MUFON also might work with the government in
Very
tracking.
much so.
So that's probably why I didn't get the callbacks. Might be why helicopters. I had a lot of helicopter activity. I had a helicopter come. I could always tell when a star beam was going to come because the helicopter would fly over my house first. One of them almost hit the top of my house. That's how close they got to my house. The helicopter. I'm like, oh my God, this helicopter is so close. And I'm sticking my head out the window and I'm like, you're gonna hit the tree or my house. They would that and the unidentified black helicopter over my house. So either I like to mess with the fifth dimension. Either I accidentally opened up a portal and they were tracking it, or a starbeam was coming. Either one. One flew over my house before I came here this morning too. So
I know you
Yeah.
know, BFRO, I'm not, I don't feel like you should tell them that every experience, with the different group,
what's a BFRO?
Bigfoot research.
Oh, Bigfoot research.
Organization.
So like I was saying, a lot of these entities
Mhm.
are, I don't know if they're fronts for, we'll say, government
Yep.
or bigger entities, but they definitely track people that love to investigate and problem solve.
Yeah.
And so it's very analytical, but as I was mentioning, there are people in there
Mhm.
who are, I'll say, aware but closet intuitives.
Mhm.
They
Yes.
just, they're not in the room with the people that they feel open enough to
Mhm.
acknowledge that. And then there's people that are, doing the presentation of this is how you collect information,
Mhm.
and you talk with that individual and you're like, man, you are so bonkers aware, but you won't let yourself be.
Yeah.
So I look at it as opportunity, but to your point, Gail, you do have to be careful
Mhm.
about how you share and how you present yourself, until there's a level of comfort.
Well, that's what the call to wake up is for, I think.
Yes.
So all those sleepers. Okay.
Hello. So to go back to the idea of star beings and some of the experiences I've had, I worked with an intuitive to try to make sense of what was going on, and she suggested that like multidimensionally, like a part of my soul is a star being. Like we're multidimensional and we're living all these different existences simultaneously, and that's why easily we somehow link up with these other communities that are like where other versions of ourselves have another whole life. So I just wanted to run that by you. Like, do you think, you could be a star being, like in another parallel life or something like that?
Yeah. I like right now or at the same time in another timeline. Is that what she's asking? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's
Yeah.
all timelines. Carol knows about timelines. There's timelines going on right now. And I've done journeys to meet my soul families, and most of my soul family they're not human. There's no
Yeah.
human show up. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, and thanks for making the Zoom option because I'm dealing with some health issues and I can't come, but I didn't want to miss it. So thank you, Gail.
No problem.
Yeah.
We would have reached the first one, but we didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else online? Have a question or anyone in the room?
I was gonna say with that 10-year period where you were asked to shut down, with that coven, I think it was to protect you because that coven was coming after.
Yeah,
you,
I know.
and they needed to hide you.
And I don't know why. But I guess I'll never know why. But I even called my friend, I'm like, stop. It was urgent and it scared me. When teacher he's like, you need to put yourself to sleep now. And I was like driving to work and I'm like, okay, I'm putting my sleep. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep. It was pretty it was kind of boring just being in a muggle world for about 2 minutes. It was You know, I drank wine and had friends and
Look at
raised
this,
yeah.
good paroled.
It was different, had different kinds of friends, but it was great waking up. I'm gonna have to tell you, that was like the best summer ever.
Did you come across people who are their avatars of human?
No,
I'm just curious to see how often that, you encounter that.
like a star being that,
Yeah.
oh, that make, oh yeah, the most of them do, but they pull images from your head that are comfortable for you. That's why that the one that I was with for quite some time pulled the homeless man that I used to look at, because I was like, God, he looks like my old friend, and I pulled my old friend and mixed them together. That's what he looked like. And then the Jared Leto, but I don't understand the Jared Leto because I racked my brain. I'm like, I haven't watched a movie. I haven't heard his songs lately.
thought it was attractive.
I don't guess. It was kind of right. It was kind of funny, but I was just like, and I still say it when I think about it. I'm like, really, Jared Leto, really?
Did you ever have a crush on Jared Leto?
Oh well, he didn't even look fully like Jared Leto. I mean, he had his face, but he's still like black eyes, long golden hair, and I'm just like, that's funny. So yeah. Did anybody else have any questions online? No.
One more question, go ahead, Amy. Or is it, hand was up.
I don't know where to put it down. There it is.
Okay. Well, I think we can end this meeting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank everybody for coming, and I'll try to edit this, I think, the beginning, and I'll try to post it. I think we're not where to go. But I take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.